Here's one of my favorite things to do when I get to the shop. I like to go to the mailbox and get cool stuff. Here. Oh yeah, ERT, you guys know what this is. It's the controller. All right, so in the box, we have our ASI BAC 4000. Here's a plug and play harness with some hardware. Here's the display. And here's the controller right here. And also in the box is some literature, which is exactly the same shape as the box, so it's stuck in there. There we go. So basically this is like an install guide, as you can see. Very cool. Here we go. So you can see ASI BAC 4000. And this has been loaded up with the tuning file from Alan at ERT, so it'll be ready to go. There's the display. This controls it, has all the settings. We'll go through it in detail as we get it on the bike. So we've got the controller. I've unbolted it from the front here, taking off the connections, the first thing, because we're gonna have to extend the wires in order to reach the new controller's lugs. So we'll continue taking those off. And with a little bit of finagling, we were able to snake all these connectors right out through the frame rail here. And now the stock X controller is out. So let's now size up the BAC just to kind of show you a difference here. You can see it is relatively similar in width, but it's a lot shorter in length. And width-wise, this way, it's pretty similar as well. So, should fit in there pretty nicely. Let's give it a go. So the install is complete on the ERT controller. It's a ASI BAC 4000 from ERT. Give Alan a ring if you're interested in one of these. It is a really fantastic controller. We're getting into it now. We've got the NXT box hooked up here, so we're able to see everything. I got them mounted. I'm waiting for my mount to mount it up here. But for now, let me just leave it there. We're gonna hit the dyno real soon. So this is basically a complete standalone setup. As you can see, it loads right up and it shows you all your pertinent information. You can have, there's tons of options in here. You can actually get into to look at your battery info. You can see a lot of great information in here. There's a lot of cool options on this. It's updating constantly, so we're perfecting it still. But right now we have a good setup. We are running the stock battery with the BMS bypassed. So the current limiting is being done. Well, the BMS is not completely bypassed. Let me rephrase that. The discharge part of the BMS is bypassed so that this can control the discharge rate. So we're able to get a little bit more juice out of the setup. We have it set up for 8.5 kilowatts right now. So we're bypassed on the stock discharge, but we're still utilizing the BMS for monitoring cell voltage and for charging as well. So a really cool option for someone who doesn't want to go crazy and get the big boy 72 volt battery. But either way, this is all set up now. So we're gonna go ahead and load this up on the dyno, and I gotta move a lot of stuff. But we're gonna set this up on the dyno and we're gonna measure the gains with this whole setup over the stock controller. So remember, we've done the belt upgrade, Supermoto wheels and tires, and the controller from ERT. Loaded up. This is the easiest bike to load up on a dyno. It's a dream. So it's really light. Strap it right here on the pegs. Solid, not going anywhere. All right, so we've got this loaded up. ready to make a pull. Put your guesses in the comments. What do you think it'll make? It made 6.9 horsepower stock. So I'm hoping to get over at least 10. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and confirm BH5.
Okay, so that was a pretty solid run. Here we can see the results, and peak was 11.86, so almost 12 horsepower. That's a pretty sizable increase from the stock 6.9. So pretty solid, about 5 horsepower gain. Big change. Happy with that. I was expecting at least over 10. We did dyno another one with the BMS bypass as well, a very similar setup to this, and it put down 11 as well. So 11.86, that's almost 12 horsepower. And that is limited right now, just so you know. We have a current limiting set for 8.5 kilowatts. So a really solid number. Now what we'll do is we're gonna take it down, we'll take it out, and we'll do some acceleration tests to see what that means, because before, if you'll remember, if you look back, our 0 to 30 time was, I believe, 4.1 seconds flat. So we should improve on that quite a bit with that extra power on tap. And it is there all the time. It was not falling off. I let off a little over 60 miles per hour on here, and so power was still gaining, or still, I should say, still holding at 60 miles an hour. So I'm expecting that to translate out on the road. We should be able to get to 60 miles an hour, or at least close to it with this setup. Really exciting numbers. All right, let's take it down and set up the V-Box and go do a couple of acceleration runs. Okay, so we're gonna do an acceleration test now. We've got the SUR RON set up. This is the BAC 4000 from ERT, set up for an OEM battery, a stock battery with the battery management system bypassed for discharge. So we've got it at 0 right now. We're going to start a run. We're going to do 0 to 30 and see what we can get. Stock was 4.1 seconds or thereabout. Here we go. All right. Let's see if that picked up. So there we go, 3.0. Pretty good. This is the stock battery still. And we are now over a full second faster, 0 to 30. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's a significant increase, obviously. To go a full second into 0 to 30 faster, not too bad. Really happy about that. We'll do another one the other way just to see if there's any change. But that's impressive, 3.01. So I'll hit start again. Now we're going to do it one more time. See if we can get any quicker. Ready, set, go. I have to lean over just a little bit to keep that front wheel from coming off the ground, because it does want to do a wheelie pretty bad. And 3.1. So there you go. A full second quicker, we can call it. That's definitely, because we did it in both directions. You could average it out. It's under 3.1 seconds. 0 to 30. Strong. I like that. So there you have it. 3 seconds flat, 0 to 30 with the stock battery. The controller does do wonders. We've increased horsepower by 50%. So it makes up for a pretty significant amount of acceleration. So really happy with that. That's a nice spot to be at. We're gonna do a top speed test. Maybe in the next video we'll see how she does. Hoping for 60. That's the goal. If it gets over 60 on that stock battery, that's cooking. So remember, stock was 50. It was like 51, 51. That was in the last top speed test we did. So we'll do the same test again and see. That field weakening is what I'm really interested in seeing, because you don't need a ton of power to utilize that and take advantage of that. That can be taken advantage of with a stock battery on a stock bike. You're just going to be able to rev it higher. It's going to have more RPM. So stock RPM on it's like 5,000, something like that. With the field weakening, could be 7,000, 8,000 RPM. I don't know. So it's quite a significant change in speed. We're going to be testing all that. We're going to see what the big differences are there. And then, of course, the big boy battery is being commissioned. So that's going to be about a few weeks out, though. Chris at Lightspeed is working on that. But a huge, huge shout out to Alan at ERT. If you haven't checked his stuff out, you've got a SUR RON and you want to go a little bit faster, you definitely need to consider this system. This is the best that I've seen as far as options, controls, and whatnot. This cool little box he includes with it is a bonus, and it mounts the screen. We're going to mount the screen like right here. I'll show you guys when I get the mount for it. I was thinking about leaving it down here like this, but I don't know. I like to see the battery indicator. So either way, you got options. It fits in a stock location. It's really nice and slim. It's smaller than the stock controller, honestly, and obviously a lot more powerful. So if you have one of these, definitely consider it. And I'm going to be putting the stock X controller into Shaw's bike for him because he needs a little extra, you know. It's like a budget build for him. So we'll get that thing together for him. But stay tuned. We're going to do the top speed run next, and then hopefully we hit that big 6.0. That's the goal. With the power turned all the way up, and even on these Supermoto tires, it wants to pull that front wheel from a roll. So on an off-road bike with a high sprocket tooth count, this thing is just going to be yanking the wheels all over the place, and you're still going to have that 50 mile an hour top speed because of the field weakening effect that we're able to utilize with this controller. So that's the magic ticket. And then with the 72 volt battery, come on, it'd be crazy. We'll see how it turns out.
Race bikes.
Marcus says race bikes. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.